Hi there. First off, real quick, sorry if I look a little raggedy or anything. I need to get a trim and a shaping and whatnot. I know. So I apologize. I even brushed my beard before I started recording, but, what are you going to do? I got to make the appointment. Anyways, let's actually talk about what I want to talk about. First things first, rest in power to Michael Parenti. I know I'm a little late on making a video about this and talking about it, but I did make a community post when I heard the news of his death, and it was devastating. Dr. Parenti was a standard bearer in the analysis of history, domestic politics, and global affairs from a Marxist lens, Marxist-Leninist even, and his presence in the world will be sorely missed. If you haven't read some Parenti today, or listened to one of his lectures, I suggest you do. Now, I forget how I came across this, probably just after searching Michael Parenti on Google or something after I found out he died. But I recently came across an obituary of Dr. Parenti that is downright insulting. This obituary came from one Ted Cohen, who apparently at one point was a relatively respected journalist. He apparently was the first person to expose that George W. Bush was once arrested for drunk driving, so, good on that, I guess. To show you, though, how irrelevant that he's become, this piece that he wrote wasn't even published through, a legitimate news source, an independent media company, or even one of those, weird fringe ones like Breitbart or something. It was published on Patch.com, which, based on my findings, is basically a glorified sort of news forum where people in different locales and, whatnot can publish things regarding their local scene and conditions and whatnot without any editorial oversight or anything like that. In essence, Cohen's work here is as journalistically relevant and legitimate as a Reddit post. Now, I will say that the first part of this obituary isn't terrible. It's just basic. It's run-of-the-mill. It's a basic rundown of Parenti's time in Vermont and how he was fired from the University of Vermont after being arrested at a protest in 1970. All fine and good. Basic information. The terrible part comes when Cohen tries to use Parenti's death as a way to put together some sort of quick gotcha moment against socialism and Marxism. And no, this isn't, some sort of meme like when people say, if Charlie Kirk is so pro-life, then why is he dead? Or, stuff like that. Those edits of Turning Point USA propaganda that you see on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. He also throws some shade at Bernie Sanders in this piece, but Bernie kinda sucks, so who really cares? The worst part, though, is that he tries to compare the two of them because of the friendship that they once had. Cohen takes a quote from Parenti from a 2009 interview that he did with Democracy Now!, and then replies to it, unironically mind you, with the argument that socialists are hypocrites because we dare to make or spend money under capitalism. It is the most tired, obtuse, unintelligent, and flimsiest of arguments that anybody could make against socialism, communism, Marxism, and so on. For the sake of context, here is the Democracy Now! Clip that Cohen is referencing.
Well, I argue that one of the functions of a capitalist state is to defend capitalism from itself, to defend capitalism from the capitalists. It was Marx, we mentioned him, I hear he's coming back in style. It was Marx who said one capitalist will kill many other capitalists. That the system it begins to consume itself. We see that with Bernard Madoff and the like. And it's not merely because of a number of wicked personalities, because these personalities are brought to the fore. Those are the people who get the rewards. Those are the people who, yes, and what we need are drastic sets of regulations, and there hasn't been enough talk. We just got a vague reference to it here. Geithner referencing and saying, well, it's going to be a little bit of a different capital and more responsible, accountable maybe. But as far as actual regulations, we haven't seen it. The free market does not work. It's not free. It's not really a market. It's a plunder, and it has to be done away with.
Cohen's response to this, and I shit you not, is, and I quote, Parenti drew a salary in true capitalist tradition from public universities partly funded by taxpayer money. That Parenti had much in common with Sanders. He hated capitalism except perhaps when it was paying his bills. It's the meme. It's the fucking Venezuela iPhone meme. It's the you hate capitalism and yet you participate in it meme. He's literally fucking being this guy. Being paid a salary doesn't make you a capitalist. Controlling finance capital and the means of production and exploiting other people's labor for your profit makes you one. A salary or wages does not equate to capital or profit. I see now why Mr. Cohen didn't study political science or history or even economics, because he would have sucked at it. He's apparently not very good at journalism anymore either, since he is reduced to writing for glorified forums instead of actual newspapers and magazines, at least for the most part. I'm going to read the last few lines of this attempt at a gotcha disguised as an obituary, and then we can all make fun of him together. How's that sound? And I quote, "Considering the fact that Parenti wanted tenure at UVM, meaning he wanted a lifetime appointment, suggests that in reality he wasn't a Marxist at all, but just an everyday capitalist wanting to popularize his rhetoric, much in the mold of Bernie Sanders, the alleged socialist who owns 3 houses. Tenure and homeownership aren't born of Marxism and socialism. They define capitalism. Moreover, Parenti and Bernie wrote dozens of books espousing their politics, the capitalist-based profits of which didn't go into your pocket. Job security and homeownership do not define capitalism. They quite literally are a part of the definition of socialism when you look at the housing programs of past and present socialist experiments. I mean, shit, in the Soviet Union, it was literally enshrined in the Constitution that people had the right to employment, to a wage, to housing, to be able to contribute to society in a meaningful way. According to a Yahoo Finance article, over 7.8 million people were unemployed by November of 2025, many of which were due to layoffs. In 2024, it was reported by Econofact that there were over 700,000 homeless people in the United States. How many people were stuck renting an apartment or renting a house instead of actually owning their living space in the United States? How many people rented their homes in 2025 or 2024 even? Tell me, Ted, since you're supposed to be such a respectable journalist. And then, of course, he pulls out the fallacy of, well, if you're a socialist, why don't you give all of your money to charity, by pointing out that Parenti made a living through writing books and giving lectures and teaching positions and didn't distribute his salary to the people. He has the gall to say that Parenti was actually a capitalist who wanted to make money off of socialist rhetoric like some grifter. For one, it is not hypocritical to survive under capitalism while being critical of it when you are literally forced to live under it. It's an ignorant and downright stupid argument to use, and it's been debunked 100 times, if not 1,000,000 times over. Secondly, to say that Parenti wasn't a Marxist with his tireless efforts to educate people on the horrors of capitalism, the successes of socialism, and the actual boots-on-the-ground activism that he partook in throughout much of his life is nothing more than reaching for straws to try to sound intelligent. Also, just to be clear, the actual profit for those books went to the publishers and bookstores. Royalties are not profit. This obituary sucks, and Ted Cohen sucks. He also kind of looks like if Dwight Schrute from The Office was put through a taffy puller. Rest in peace to Michael Parenti, rest in power, and may we all strive to be the thinker that he was. My name is Jymee, thank you for watching, fuck ICE, no war with Iran, and free Palestine.